The Nile's life-giving waters flowed through the golden sands of ancient Egypt. The line between life and death was not an end, but a transition. To the ancient Egyptians, death was not the end of existence. It was the beginning of an awe-inspiring journey, one that would lead the soul through the mysterious realms of the afterlife. A journey filled with trials, tests, and the promise of eternal life among the gods. But this journey was not to be taken alone. It required guidance, protection, and the wisdom of ages. The Book of the Dead is an ancient guidebook, a masterpiece of spiritual and cultural significance that offered the departed the knowledge and tools necessary to navigate the perilous path to the afterlife. Known to the Egyptians as the Book of Coming Forth by Day, it is a collection of spells, incantations, and illustrations that speak directly to the soul embarking on its journey beyond the grave. In these sacred texts, the Egyptians codified their deepest beliefs and fears, their hopes and aspirations for what lay beyond the mortal coil. As we explore this ancient guide, we step into a world where the living and the dead coexist, where the soul's fate is determined by the balance of a feather, and where every symbol, every word, carries the weight of eternity. The Book of the Dead is more than a historical artifact. It is a window into the Egyptian soul, a reflection of their worldview that has endured for millennia. In the shadow of the Great Pyramids, where the Pharaohs once reigned supreme, the earliest seeds of the Book of the Dead were sown. Long before the spells were inscribed on delicate papyrus, they were carved into the very stone of the Pharaohs' final resting places. These ancient inscriptions, known as the Pyramid Texts, dating from around 2400–2300 BCE, represent the oldest religious writings known to mankind, an extraordinary glimpse into the spiritual heart of ancient Egypt. The Pyramid Texts are written in Old Egyptian, a form of the Egyptian language that predates Middle and Late Egyptian. The texts consist of over 700 spells and incantations, arranged in no specific order, and include hymns, prayers, and rituals. The Pyramid Texts, reserved exclusively for the king and his closest kin, were designed to ensure the pharaoh's safe passage into the afterlife. These texts contain spells to ward off evil, prayers to the gods, and instructions for the soul's journey. They were the first codified attempt to map the afterlife, a monumental effort to protect the divine ruler in his transition from this world to the next. As time passed, the knowledge once guarded by the pharaohs began to trickle down to the elite. The spells that once adorned only the walls of royal tombs began to appear on the coffins of nobility and wealthy citizens. These coffin texts marked a significant evolution, extending the promises of the afterlife to a broader segment of society. No longer confined to stone, these spells were now inscribed on the very containers that held the deceased, offering protection and guidance to all who could afford such preparations. The final stage was the dissemination of what came to be known as the Book of the Dead, which was now written on papyrus, democratizing this sacred liturgy to common Egyptians. By this stage, the text had evolved over centuries, each new generation of scribes adding to the wisdom of their ancestors. By the New Kingdom period, the Book of the Dead had become an essential component of Egyptian funerary practices, a comprehensive guide for the dead, complete with illustrations and personalized texts tailored to the needs of the individual. The names of the deceased were inserted into the texts, and specific spells were chosen based on the individual's status, occupation, and personal beliefs. Some wealthy Egyptians even had their own unique spells commissioned. What began as the exclusive privilege of pharaohs had now become a common tool, accessible to anyone who sought passage to the afterlife. One of the most famous examples of the Book of the Dead is the Papyrus of Ani, a beautifully illustrated scroll that spans nearly 80 feet. Discovered in Thebes in 1888, this masterpiece provides a detailed account of the spells and rituals that guided Ani, a scribe of Thebes, through the afterlife. The vivid illustrations and meticulous hieroglyphs in the Papyrus of Ani make it one of the many vestiges of ancient Egyptian artistic masterpieces. As these ancient scrolls made their way from the tombs of Egypt to the museums of Europe, the Book of the Dead captured the imagination of scholars, artists, and the general public alike. No longer just a relic of a bygone civilization, it became a window into the soul and cosmovision of ancient Egypt. The rediscovery of the Book of the Dead has had a profound impact on our understanding of ancient Egypt. Through the study of these texts, historians and linguists have gained invaluable insights into Egyptian religion, mythology, and daily life. The Book of the Dead has become a cornerstone of Egyptology, influencing countless studies and publications. It has also reshaped our perception of the ancient world, revealing a civilization deeply concerned with the afterlife and the moral journey of the soul. Imagine for a moment that you are an ancient Egyptian. Your life on earth has ended, but your journey is far from over. Before you lies a perilous path through the underworld, a labyrinth of trials and challenges that you must overcome to reach eternal life. In your hands you hold the Book of the Dead, a sacred guide meticulously crafted to ensure your safe passage. This is no ordinary book. It is a map, a manual, and a protective charm, all rolled into one. The Book of the Dead is composed of a series of chapters, often referred to as spells or utterances, each one designed to assist the soul at different stages of its journey through the afterlife. These texts were not standardized. They varied from tomb to tomb, with each version customized to meet the specific needs and beliefs of the deceased. Some versions contained as many as 200 spells, while others included fewer, but all were united by a common purpose: to guide the soul safely to the afterlife and secure a place in the eternal paradise of Aru. Your journey begins the moment your soul departs the physical world, and guided by the Book of the Dead, you enter the underworld, or Duat, a place of both danger and wonder. The first spells you encounter are designed to help you navigate this treacherous realm, invoking the protection of powerful deities like Ra, Osiris, and Anubis. These spells ward off hostile spirits and guide you through the twisting passages of the underworld, where every step brings you closer to the ultimate test, the weighing of the heart. The weighing of the heart afterlife trial is one of the most iconic and crucial ones. In this dramatic ritual, your heart is weighed against the feather of Ma'at, the embodiment of truth and cosmic order. If your heart is lighter than the feather, you are deemed pure and worthy of entering the afterlife. But if it is heavy with sin, it will be devoured by the monstrous Amit, and your soul will be doomed to oblivion. With your heart found pure, you continue your journey, encountering spells that allow you to pass through gates guarded by fierce creatures, to cross dangerous rivers, and to transform into powerful beings such as a falcon or a lotus, granting you the ability to navigate the ever-changing landscape of the underworld. The illustrations within the Book of the Dead are as important as the text itself. These vivid depictions of gods, mythical beasts, and sacred rites serve as visual guides for the soul, offering a glimpse of the challenges ahead and the divine beings who will offer their aid. The art is not merely decorative, it is instructional, each image crafted to reinforce the power of the spells and to help the deceased visualize their journey through the underworld. And so, after navigating the many trials of the underworld, you arrive at the fields of Aru, a paradise where you will live in eternal peace, tending your crops under the watchful eye of Osiris, the god of the afterlife. It is here in these blessed fields that your soul will find its final rest, free from the worries and pain of the mortal world. The Book of the Dead has fulfilled its purpose, guiding you safely to your eternal reward. In ancient Egypt, the rhythms of daily life were intertwined with the divine. The sun's rise and fall, the flooding of the Nile, the growth of crops, each was seen as part of a cosmic order maintained by the gods. Central to this belief system was Ma'at, the goddess of truth, justice, and cosmic balance. Ma'at was not just a deity, she was the very principle that held the universe together, the force that ensured harmony in both the mortal world and the afterlife. Ma'at's presence permeated every aspect of Egyptian life. From the pharaoh to the common farmer, everyone was expected to live in accordance with her, to uphold truth and justice in their actions. This concept extended beyond life itself into the realm of the dead, where the soul's fate hinged on its adherence to Ma'at's principles. The Book of the Dead was, in many ways, a guide to living a life in accordance with Ma'at, as much as it was a manual for navigating the afterlife. Thus, the moral ramifications included in the Book of the Dead were inculcated into daily life. It shaped the way the living understood their place in the cosmos, how they interacted with the divine, and how they prepared for the afterlife. The concepts of Ma'at, the judgment of the soul, and the promise of eternal life permeated every stratum of society. Even in the simplest of daily rituals, offering food to the gods, reciting prayers, or performing acts of charity, Egyptians were guided by the principles enshrined in the Book of the Dead. It was a text that connected the living with the dead, the mortal with the divine. The sands of Egypt hold many secrets, buried for millennia beneath the shifting dunes. For centuries, the Book of the Dead lay hidden in the tombs of the ancient pharaohs and their subjects, its wisdom and magic obscured by the passage of time. But in the early 19th century, as European explorers and scholars flocked to Egypt in the wake of Napoleon's campaigns, this ancient text would once again see the light of day. In 1822, Jean-François Champollion, the father of Egyptology, made a groundbreaking discovery, the Rosetta Stone. This trilingual inscription in hieroglyphs, Demotic Egyptian and Ancient Greek, provided the key to deciphering previously unreadable ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, unlocking the language that had been a mystery for over 1,000 years. With this newfound knowledge, scholars began to understand the texts they were uncovering, and among the most significant of these was the Book of the Dead. For the first time in centuries, the words and symbols of the ancient Egyptians began to speak to us again. The ancient Egyptian language is an incredibly rich, complex, and intricate system, characterized by a vast array of beautiful hieroglyphs, each symbol representing sounds, objects, or abstract concepts, making it challenging to master. This complexity, combined with the language's use of different scripts like hieratic and demotic for various purposes, meant that literacy was reserved for a highly specialized group of individuals. Only about 1 to 2% of the population could read and write, and these were primarily scribes who were meticulously trained in the art of writing. Scribes held an esteemed position in society, serving as the backbone of the administration, religious practices, and cultural preservation. Their ability to transcribe sacred texts like the Book of the Dead was crucial for disseminating these beliefs and rituals, ensuring that the knowledge necessary for navigating the afterlife was passed down through generations. Without scribes, the spiritual and cultural heritage of ancient Egypt, including the profound teachings of the Book of the Dead, would have been lost to history. The language of the Book of the Dead is a testament to the complexity and beauty of ancient Egyptian script. Hieroglyphs, more than just a writing system, were a sacred art, each symbol a reflection of the divine. The exquisite illustrations depicted of deities also adds to the artistic appeal of these masterpieces. Consider, for example, the Ankh, one of the most recognizable symbols in Egyptian iconography. The Ankh, often referred to as the key of life, symbolizes both physical and eternal life. When depicted in the Book of the Dead, the Ankh serves as a powerful emblem of resurrection, a reminder that life continues beyond death, sustained by the divine order of the universe. Another potent symbol in the Book of the Dead is the Djed pillar, known as the backbone of Osiris. The Djed represents stability, endurance, and resurrection. Often placed near the deceased or included in spells, it was believed to provide the soul with the strength needed to withstand the challenges of the afterlife and to rise again in the presence of Osiris, the god of the dead and the afterlife. Symbols like the Ankh and the Djed are just the beginning. The Book of the Dead is filled with rich iconography that guided the soul through the afterlife. From the protective eye of Horus, which wards off evil, to the scarab beetle symbolizing transformation and rebirth. Each of these symbols carried immense spiritual weight, providing not just physical protection, but also the spiritual power necessary to navigate the dangers of the underworld. But the language of the Book of the Dead was not just about symbols, it was also about the power of the written word. The Egyptians believed that words, when spoken or inscribed, had the power to bring forth the realities they described. This belief in the power of words, known as Heka or magic, meant that the Book of the Dead was not just a guidebook, but a magical tool. The spells contained within it were thought to have real, tangible effects, capable of influencing the outcome of the soul's journey. In many copies of the Book of the Dead, certain words, particularly names of deities and important concepts, are written in red ink. These are some of the first instances of the practice known as rubrication, or the addition of text in red ink to a manuscript for emphasis. It was believed to emphasize the power of those words and to invoke the protection of the gods. This practice has continued all throughout written history until the modern age. In the end, the language and symbolism of the Book of the Dead served as a bridge between the mortal and the divine. Through the careful use of hieroglyphs and symbols, the ancient Egyptians created a text that was not only a religious guide, but a magical instrument, one that connected the spiritual world with the physical, the past with the future, the living with the dead. Every symbol, every word was a key to unlocking the mysteries of the afterlife, ensuring that the soul could navigate the unknown with the protection and guidance of the gods. As we've journeyed through the Book of the Dead, we've seen how it was more than just a funerary text. It was a reflection of the ancient Egyptians' worldview, their beliefs about the afterlife, and their quest for immortality. It was a text that spoke to the universal human experience, the desire to understand what lies beyond the veil of death, and the hope for a life that transcends the physical world. It challenges us to consider how ancient beliefs about life and death resonate in our modern world. What can we learn from a civilization that saw death not as an end, but as a continuation of the soul's journey? How do our own beliefs and practices compare, and what does this tell us about the human condition? The Book of the Dead is a testament to the power of words, symbols, and ideas to transcend time. It is a reminder that the search for meaning in life and death is a universal journey, one that continues to shape our understanding of the world and ourselves. As we conclude our exploration of this ancient masterpiece, let us carry forward the wisdom it imparts, the understanding that life, in all its complexity, is a journey, and that death, too, is a part of that journey. If you've been captivated by the mysteries of the Book of the Dead, we invite you to subscribe as we explore more masterpieces of the ancient world. We will continue to explore the texts, mysteries, and interesting facts that have come down to us all the way from the times of old. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next adventure.